Hey everybody, welcome to Two Dads, One Car, where we talk about modern fatherhood. My friends, I'm currently in Burnaby, about to pick up my friend Jason from his co-working space, Beta Collective. We're here to chat about fatherhood. He is a dad of two who are 15 and 12, I think, but two girls. I'm also a girl dad, and so can't wait to dive into this topic with them and more. And so we'll be picking them up very shortly. Cheers. All right, Jason, welcome to Two Dads, One Car. So excited to have you on. Before we kick off with the questions, but love to get a snapshot of your family, number of kids, rough ages, then we'll kick it off from there.
Sure. So I'm a father of two daughters. Shout out to my oldest, Jalen. She's turning 15 today, so first day of spring, spring baby, as well as she has a younger sister named Gemma, and she's soon to be 12 years old.
Wow, 15 and 12. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't wait to glean the advice here because mine, as you know, are 4 months and 4 years old. But it's gonna be fun to kind of dive into this with you.
Oh, you're gonna have a blast, man! A blast.
I'd love to get a sense of what is an unspoken truth about fatherhood from your perspective. From your 15 years of being a dad, like what's something that's unspoken that hasn't really been had its light shone?
Okay. I gave it some thought, and what I will say is that this could be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but
Let's do it.
I don't think as parents we are any better than our kids in terms of things like screen time. So that's one thing I came to a realization is that for better or for worse, obviously it has some benefits and pros and cons to it. But I'll give you an example. A couple years back, I was watching sports. I love watching. I'm an armchair quarterback. Okay,
Love it.
I do some sports.
Yeah.
Play basketball and such, but generally speaking, I like staring at the screen. So that in and of itself, love watching football on weekends. So there was a day where I came across my daughter on her phone, and she was on YouTube. I was like wondering what she was watching. So I was like, and when I was looking at it, she was just basically looking at a particular influencer that's streaming himself playing video games, right? And so I was like, it's kind of scratching my head. I'm like, why are you watching this, right? It's like, it's kind of fun. I'm like, but you're watching a person playing a game. You're not playing the game itself.
Yeah.
And then her answer to me was, well, you watch football. And from that day on, I was like, shit, you're right. And nothing to say to that. And so I think for something like that, where when I look at it that way, I humble myself, or they humble me pretty quickly to get that realization that it's, we're no better in a lot of sense. So
It's also like they're modeling exactly what you're doing, right?
Totally, yeah, just in different formats or environments, but they're captivated by it, and I'm like, okay, and what's interesting too is that, at least for my kids, when I get a chance to, at least through my younger kids, scrolling through with their algorithms on their videos, because I'm always a little, as parents, we're a little bit concerned with maybe what they're consuming and watching, but when I kind of scroll through a lot of stuff, it's really relatively harmless.
Yeah.
A lot of animal stuff, cat videos, and so when I get a sense of that, I'm my wife and I are less concerned per se. Obviously, we put some guardrails in place in terms of amount of time and whatnot, but generally speaking, I mean, yeah, kids will figure it out.
What has been something that you've kind of incorporated recently, I guess? Because your kids are 15, right? 12, like this is high school, middle school age, right?
Yeah.
What are you noticing?
So for my oldest now, she's obviously 15, less guardrails in place. The only thing we put in place really is just locking her phone at a certain time in the evenings, and that's more of a daily basis. So she's aware of that, and she doesn't complain. She just, if she is messaging any of her friends or whatever, it's more like, okay, I gotta go now. And, she doesn't get a chance to jump on her phone. I mean, she can.
Do you lock it in a case or walk me through?
No, it's just, it goes offline. So she can't log on to internet. She doesn't have any social media. She's not on any social media platforms anyways, but
Okay.
as far as being able to communicate, on Discord or Snap or anything like that, which are huge apps for them now. Like kids, at least our kids nowadays, Snap and Discord seem to be the two big ones.
Do you have any, like, I mean, we're talking about technology here, right? Do you have any like qualms or fears about like the influence of technology on our children, or like maybe it's different with girls? I'm just because there's a lot of stuff out there, and you and I talk about this too, right?
Yeah.
Curious if that's crossed your paths or like something that you've been mindful of.
It's always being mindful of.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm sure other dads have said it in their interviews. It's always gonna be there, whether you want to as much as you want to control it or not. It's gonna be there, and you just do your best. If anything, if we can lead by example by making sure that the content we're watching is appropriate, and letting them know, hey, these are some things that are no-go zones, and just being mindful of how much time we provide them. But other than that, I think it's pretty inevitable. They learn more from their peers than we ever can, especially as they're getting older. So as much as we become a bit more trying to be more disciplinary and things like that, they're going to learn way more from their peers at this age.
Yeah, I guess especially as they're 15 and 12. I recall when I head into high school, like my parental influence was like minimal.
Right? Yeah. So even
like
as
the boat has sailed.
Yeah. Even as my parents got tougher on us or whatever, like no, there was more that I soaked in from my peers.
Yeah. Curious to know. I mean, Jason, you're a man of many talents. Many talents. Win multiple awards and
always a work in progress, man.
Entrepreneur at heart. There's always something cooking and brewing and
throwing
beyond.
Something to see what sticks.
I love it. Right? It's you run a co-working space. You run a kitchen. You have a travel agency. There's a lot of really fascinating entrepreneurship drives in you. How do you talk about that how do you instill that with your kids, or do you? I'm curious to know. Curious to learn there.
Yeah. If there's any parents that like to take their kids to work, I take them pretty often. So, So they'll come to the kitchen, and again, it's not about hey kids, do this, become entrepreneurial. If anything, it's more just, hey, let me at least bring you into my world, bring you into my environment, introduce you to some really rad people, and and if you're curious about what it is that they're doing or how they go about doing it, then go ahead and either connect or ask questions. But yeah, it's never something I force upon them. But at least with my 15-year-old, she comes to work during spring break now, but she comes to work with me a couple times a week.
Oh, really?
I'll give her a list of admin work, and I'll pay her maybe sweatshop dollars, but, but at least she's learning some of the ins and outs, and what's a day like in my world. And yeah, it's fine. She's going about it pretty good, asking questions. So yeah, so it gives me some solace that we got some traction with the kids in some regards.
That's a really cool idea. I mean, what would you have her do?
Yeah, a lot of the grunt work that I don't
sell these things.
So I had her with I equipped her with the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser yesterday, and I said, hey, these walls need a bit of a scrub down. She did a stand-up job, and so yeah, it's and then checking mail and not quite answering phones yet, but something she wasn't quite comfortable yet in terms of greeting people, and then I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We don't, again, I'm not here to pressure her.
Yeah.
Nor do I think that this is your future. It's more, hey, get some experience, and by the time you are ready to maybe interview for jobs or apply for jobs, that you can put something on your resume.
Right.
And at least have some confidence with just interacting. So.
You'd be surprised where this will go. This is actually really interesting. As you know, I do interview coaching. I have an interview coaching business, and I support, help law students and lawyers land their dream job. Subtle plug there. Completely different from this podcast.
All good.
But with that business, part of the big question I always practice with the students is like, why law? Why did you decide to go into law, right? And that's a typical interview question. And we always workshop that question together.
Yeah.
so many times, Jason, like I would say 8 out of 10 times, there's something about the way they were brought up. Like there's
Okay.
like, I remember being in discussions with my dad, who's a business owner, talking about contracts, negotiations, vendors, right? Or being in this setting growing up. Like it's like there's always a callback to that in the responses that kind of open their mind to whether it's business, whether it's law,
Yeah.
and beyond. Even though at the time
Yeah.
you might not notice it.
So what was a nice quote? Let me ask you then. What would be maybe not a typical response, or one of the responses that you hear from them that
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, right, that's a good sign.
I think the best responses are the real authentic responses, right? Sometimes people will be like, oh, I went into law school because I wanted to change the world, or just something very like grandiose,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, what's the real story? Like what really happened, right?
Okay.
Like
yeah.
what is it, right? Was
Yeah.
it like a conversation you had? Was it like a teacher you spoke to in grade 12? Was it something, right?
Yeah.
Those are the answers, not like a fabricated one, because the fabricated ones just don't come across authentically.
They tell you what you want to
They
hear.
tell you what
or
you
they
hear.
think you know. They think you want to know what you want to hear.
Yeah,
right?
and it's like even this, like as you all know, Jason has no idea what I'm going to ask him. Like this is all on the fly,
Yeah.
and I'm just riffing. Whatever you say, I'll just like pick up and just like run with it, right?
Yeah.
But part of it is just like, how do you make it authentic in a way that it's not fully scripted? Of course, you should know the main bullet points and kind of where you want to guide the story, but it has to be like a real story, right?
Yeah.
In a way that makes sense.
Well, now I think I got to take some notes from you then, because here's where I
Please,
wouldn't be too sure about where my daughter stands, because her answers to me, it's always like, I don't know. Right? So if you ask her that why question, at least at this point in time, maybe there's some training that might be required to like, hey, how do you tease out, a strong answer for yourself to give you a sense of, purpose and direction.
Yeah. Right. It is, right. And sometimes like having the time to think through and really go through like your why, right? Is it maybe you were completely lost in undergrad? I didn't know what to take, but I saw my friends get into law school. I was like, I could do this too. And so I wrote the LSATs. I ended up doing really well. And that could really just be your story. And that's totally fine, because it's a real story. And so it's really that tangent in terms of like expressing the interviews. But a lot of them do call back, the ones that have like a tie to family, right? That is brought up, right? And I kind of tease it out. So it's really neat.
Yeah.
Does your youngest daughter express a desire to help magic erase the walls of Beta Collective?
She, yeah. I mean, if you talk to dads that perhaps have multiple children, oftentimes you'll see how they'll probably explain how different a lot of them are.
Yeah.
Each of them are, or how unique they are. So for my youngest, she loves, when she comes to work, she's all about decorating. So like Chinese New Year, so I'll have a bunch of or prior to that we would go to like Dollarama or T&T and grab a bunch of stuff, and even for Easter and things like that. So I over the years I would have accumulated a bunch of decorations, and she loves taking that stuff and just like put her little touches and yeah.
Oh wow.
So there's an artistic side to my youngest. That's where she's kind of that eager beaver when it comes to that. Admin stuff, not quite there yet. Haven't quite introduced her to that side. But my oldest she can hold her own doing that.
That's fascinating. It must be so interesting to see kind of where the interests diverge, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever foster that through like extracurriculars, like growing up, or what's been like? Is this a hot topic? It might be a hot topic.
No. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, for myself, I really only had one activity growing up, and that was martial arts, so Kung Fu. So I did Kung Fu for, 20-something years of my life, because my dad was the Sifu.
Right.
And so that kind of just all I really knew. That was kind of my only world in terms of extracurriculars. So I think in hindsight, obviously, learning kind of the disciplinary component and understanding willpower and when not to fight and when not to get aggressive. But I think for my children, I think, although they're not in martial arts, I think just opening them up to newer experiences, things that I didn't get a chance to do. Because I think, my dad was pretty strict when it comes to, because obviously he was our master, so everything was kind of his way or the highway, or you got beats. And if you ever gotten beaten by an actual martial artist, it's a little different.
I can only imagine, Jason.
But I turned out okay, I guess.
Just some bruises here, behind the neck,
some permanent scarring, but yeah.
You told me it's a tattoo.
Yeah.
That's interesting, right? Because how do you ensure that you don't pass that on, right?
Yeah,
And that's a whole topic too, right? Like the
totally.
way you were brought up, how do we ensure that we take the good and not pass on the bad? But it's hard
Yeah.
too, right?
It's a question I do ask myself, because when I look at my parents, or their upbringing, and yeah, it's kind of what they knew. And sure, me and my siblings, we got took into, we got disciplined as needed, and
I did too, yeah.
both physically and verbally. But it's funny how when I became a parent, in a way, I kind of vowed to myself that I would never lay a hand on my kids. Not only because it's not the legal thing to do. You're a lawyer, you probably know that would get me in trouble. But yeah, in a way, seeing how my girls have grown or maturing now, and becoming who they are as individuals, I'm like, they're kind of achieving things that I'm seeing in a bit of myself without having to kind of go to the extreme. So in that sense, I'm thinking, how much for, how can I continue going this direction to still, bring out the best in them, without, needing to, lash out or get upset in more aggressive ways.
So, I mean, Jason, you and I are part of this same mastermind circle group. We meet once a month, and one thing that you've always like impressed upon me, I've been impressed about, is just really how chill you are. And I know you have a practice. I know you have a very deliberate morning practice that
Sure.
you had to get that done, right? Walk us through that, because I'm sure once the day really gets going, you have demands from suppliers, from vendors, from customers,
Sure.
real estate, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, 2 kids.
Yeah. I'm hard. I'm shoulder deep into yoga, so it's shout out to Oxygen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been doing it for about 8 years now. 7-8 years. Yeah, that's I got it to a point where it's like brushing teeth now. So I go about 5 to 6 days a week. Up at 5:30, in the gym, in the studio by 6. Good hour push, and yeah, and then that's pretty much sets my day. I think as much as the the physical benefits of the sweat and the workout and what have you, I think really the mental game is just setting me up right for the day. Knowing that life is going to be tough. It's life is not meant to be easy. So the day to day, you just never know what's going to come at you sideways. And I think having that centering sense of gratitude, and just being very intentional for that morning, for the most part, yeah, I can pretty much face the day without much flinching. I think one kind of test for myself is, I think prior to practicing yoga, I had a lot of road rage driving.
Right, yeah.
Right. And just in the last few years, I would say, like, I'm good. Like, when someone cuts me off, it's my first instinct is not to be like, what the F, like I did before. For me, it's like, you must have something important to do, or hey, maybe you have an emergency. And I think what sealed the deal for me was about 4 years ago, I want to say 3 years ago. Our family, we took a trip to Thailand. And if you've ever been to the Mecca, which is Bangkok, if you've ever sat in traffic and how you see 14 lanes going to 2 or whatever, and just watching the Grab drivers, which is the equivalent of Uber.
Yes, that's right.
Having the Grab drivers just chill. Like, there's no like, I heard little honking in terms of that, like in terms of anyone raging and rolling down the window and like, hey, it's like, no, they just like let people in. And there was a bit of a Zen feel to that when I saw that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Not there's some faith in humanity that we don't always have to be defensive that way or aggressive. So yeah.
And I'm sure that helps out, especially at home too, right? I'm sure when you're like navigating. I'm pretty sure you're past the temper tantrum phase that I'm currently in right now.
Yeah, it does test you. I'm not, I'll be lying if a lot of these times you don't get tested. But again, I think in terms of how you face the situation, and just the ability to just be like, yeah, kind of get over it and like let it pass. Yeah, I've been over time working on it. It's not something I'm like consciously always like, okay, I got to get over this. I need to relax. I need to breathe. It's just more just, hey, just let it flow. whether it's good or bad energy, and just it's happened. But sometimes it's to a fault because not everyone around you or in my circle, especially my perhaps my spouse or my kids, may not necessarily see things that way, and so you also gonna have to like learn to live alongside that, because they may not necessarily agree. Like, hey, why are you not upset? Or
I see.
if something happened at a restaurant or something, I'm like, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. So it's kind of like you're in such a Zen mode that the others around you may feel kind of like caught off guard. Like, wait, why aren't you like peeved about this at a restaurant?
Yeah. Or if you're talking about like, I don't know, an issue in the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
some
God.
people are, wondering what my position in it as we're having a discussion. If it's something political, I would say, yeah, I'm relatively centered, like I don't lean too far on either side. And I remember having a friend that was having a discussion on something political. And after I told him like, hey, I'm pretty chill about it, he kind of was like trying to dig a little further. It's like, how come you don't have a position? I'm like, I don't, like, I'm good. So I don't, if that's not what he's looking for, then I'm like, I don't know what to give you, because that's kind of how I feel. So
This is really neat, and I'm really glad we're having this conversation, because it reminds me of this book I read called The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he talks about the different levels of consciousness, right? It starts off like I'm paraphrasing this book really poorly, right? But it starts off with really like the anger, hatred kind of phase, and it starts to move its way up to like what we call like love and enlightenment, right?
Okay.
Right, but there's like a threshold, right? And actually, the very lowest level is apathy, right? That's like the lowest level of energy, right? But then it kind of goes up from there, right? Anger and beyond, and then reason, and then it goes up from there. But I find that, and from what you're saying and what I'm interpreting and what I'm reflecting myself, is that being a parent and dad is actually its own journey in its own, right? And the fact that you, in the last like 8 years, incorporated a morning routine that centers you, right? For you, it's yoga, hot yoga, and stretching, but that on its own just like tames the mind, allows you to kind of navigate whatever comes through, like Tai Chi style. I don't know if you did Tai Chi as much, but like it feels like that, right?
I learned Tai Chi too, yeah. And also my faith too. So our family, we're Catholic, and so for us, having that to also keep us grounded, I think that's also important too. And obviously, you're going on a spiritual journey. That's a while, and how's that going, by the way?
Yeah, for sure. No, good question, right? It's been really interesting. One of my past guests was a pastor on the show, and I would never imagine myself like I didn't grow up in a religious background, right?
Yeah,
and then
neither did I. Yeah.
Diving deep with a lead pastor of a local church, like sitting next to me, I'm like, this guy's a cool guy.
Yeah, right.
And we had some of the best conversations there.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
I've only been hearing him through his sermons, but just like having a live convo.
Yeah.
It's been really nice. It's been really nice to just find that community before you and I pushed the record button, right? You and I, we were reflecting upon, I don't know about you, but I feel like the temperature dial is like turned up like quite high nowadays, right? It's 2026, right? There's a war breaking out. There's a lot of like antagonism. There's an upcoming municipal election like in October that's going to cause even more rifts. And so I think these things piled together on top of the stress of parenting, it's easy to get in that that cycle. And I feel for those, and I've been there. We've all been there before, right? And so what can we do to create this community or find resources to see those who've navigated this and kind of pick? I'm trying to cherry pick and get some advice.
I mean, I don't think there's any easy answers. I think for us, we have to give ourselves just more grace and just, hey, we're all in it together. So let's find ways to connect and have camaraderie and support each other where we can. You know? Whether it means finding leveraging different groups that perhaps might have more resources to support us for what we need to do. Whether certain banks have have different programs that can support a lot of the entrepreneurs that I support with my businesses, and how do you get access to that, as much as things are getting more expensive and things are getting more costly to even start up a business, all these barriers, but maybe there is these outlets and resources if within our respective Rolodexes, we can find ways to build those bridges, take full advantage of it.
Yeah, and there's something to that about like just the community piece, right? Like imagine, I find that like when we build things, it's never alone, right? It's always like having people like you in my circles, right? And like even if you look at the world around,
in my
thank
circle,
you.
yeah.
Even if we look at the world around us, right now we're driving down the street and all these trees are lined up, but they're all supported under the ground by roots, right?
We're gonna go there. I love that, man.
It is, but
awesome.
it's true though, right?
Yeah, 100%.
There are roots under the system that are supporting one another, whether it's through business, whether it's through emotional support, whether it's through inspiration, guidance, beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's something there, right? I think there's something there as we kind of navigate this parent journey together, and beyond, right?
And I think one other thing, as far as like being able to continue to keep yourself grounded amidst all this chaos, is just finding outlets, even in the little times that you have, especially if we're talking about, you know, dads and busy parents, right? Finding outlets that will give you a sense of like, hey, there's other people you're connected to. An example of this would be, so on every Wednesday, I play basketball with a bunch of dads, and I've been doing that for 19 years now. Prior to us being dads, so we all kind of like had kids together over a period of time. But I've been running the group for 19 years, and we play every Wednesday night, and it's full. Like the group is we fill the roster up every single weekend. It's our private little thing, so there's no drop-ins or anything like that. It's if you invite another dad or another friend, then yes, then that's obviously they're more than welcome. Actually, in fact, another one you had on your podcast, Ian Chan.
Oh, is he at it?
He hoops. Yeah, he hoops with me, man. He's a hooper.
He's a coach too.
Yeah, exactly, Coach Ian. So, yeah, but again, just an outlet like that, where it's like, hey, especially, you know, you and I, girl dads, right? Like we're surrounded by women, and sometimes you need just some of that brethren, you know. So for me, it's like, and the rest of our crew, it's like, oh man, every Wednesday, like we literally block that out no matter what. Everything has to work around that schedule. But in doing so, it's like even just that 2-hour run that we have, it's like, oh, awesome. It's like now you can face anything now. You know, if the house is a mess or whatever, you go home, it's like it's all good because, you know, we got a good sweat out of that. And just being able to share stories and just talk dad stuff, right? That's huge. So having that outlet, I think, is uber important if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, and like talking that stuff with other dads in a way that's like created by dads for dads, and just like in a way that's,
and it's not. And the thing is, it's not performative. It's like
right.
We're keeping it 100. Like if something sucks, our kid got in trouble, you know, this, that, and the other. It's like we're open. We're open enough to share those things, right? We're not trying to posture and trying to be one up each other in any way. And I think that if you can find groups like that can align with you, I think that's invaluable. I count myself so fortunate to be able to like just cultivate this. And it was never my intention. I'm like, oh, this is great. It's more like, hey, wow, we all became dads, or so and so got married, and it's like we can all kind of celebrate together, but also, you know, share in the challenges together, and be okay, and just be each other's cheerleaders.
That's really inspirational, right? Because it's kind of like finding community in this time, right? And through yours is to the basketball on the Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to hear though, right? Because there's so much power in that. There's so much strength in that. There's so much, like you said, when you come home, you're refreshed. You're like, whatever, I'm good.
Because in yoga, it's usually me and 30 other women. So again, I'm outnumbered at yoga. I'm outnumbered at home. So my Wednesday night, like that's it. You know, that's where you know, that's me time.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. It kind of you know, as you're sharing that, it kind of sparked. This is just idea popping here, right? That I think there is a need for that. I think there's a need for community. There's a need for something, right?
Big time.
Why I should just put in a grant application to the city of Vancouver to organize like something that's related to the podcast, where it's like more gatherings, like very chill gatherings, like dads and strollers, or like breweries and babies. Like I don't know, like something very hyper casual. Yeah. You guys just show up, pay for your own drink, right?
For sure.
Right? Or like we'll just meet at this gathering point, right? And just start small and just build up from there.
Yeah.
Or we'll cover coffee, right? Like if we get the grant, we'll cover something.
And you know what? I think when it comes to like making time for that too,
Yeah.
there's value in it, right? So despite the fact that people say, or a lot of parents say, hey, your life is as you know it is over or has changed or whatever as soon as you have kids. It's not exactly the case. You don't necessarily have to go that route. You know? Like it's what you make of it. If like at least for us, sure, maybe the first year of a child's life, it's like it's all hands on deck. But that's because you want to. Like your intention is there to keep the child alive, right, and breathing and eating. But I think after a certain time, it's like if you actually want to, like, hey, this, something extracurricular is going to nourish me and help me to face the day to what is going to be challenging, fatherhood to be challenging or parenthood to be challenging. You can. It's doable. Like, sure, I don't, my lifestyle has changed. I don't go out as frequent as I used to, but if I want to, or, you're going to find ways to make it work. Having trade-offs with your wife and my wife, and to be able to, like, hey, you can go, you go out this way, or have a sitter or whatever. Like you make it happen if you so choose, right? And I think it's also important to be able to do the adult stuff and the non not to have the kids fully kind of consume your world. I think there's value in that.
That's really refreshing to hear, right? And it's such a good reminder.
Yeah,
it's such a good reminder, right? Because you can do that, and it's the counterbalance to the narrative that your life is over, right?
Yeah,
the life is different for sure, right?
Exactly.
But like the fact that you have that basketball crew, right?
Yeah.
And my gosh, man, you're like killing it in the entrepreneur space. Like it's just new adventures, new ideas. Like you're still growing. Let's say that, right? I know you're humble. You're like, it could be better. But at the same time, like, my God. Anyways, I'll plug in all his links and accolades in the show description. But you're also kicking off like a travel business as well.
You know what? I'm doing things that I'm having fun with. That I think is like fun. I think that's the key. As far as the monetary reward. I mean, perhaps that would come at the end of it. But again, it's to be able to do these things on a daily basis, and I mean, travel is. Getting into it initially was just like, hookups for me and my wife and my kids would be amazing. Just getting discounts here and there.
Yeah.
But now just to be able to like do it on behalf of clients, but then also like, oh, cool. Like you wanted to go here and never even thought about that. And now as I'm doing a deep dive, I'm like, this is cool. And so just the day-to-day work doesn't actually feel as much of a grind. So the work is not, at least having chosen this kind of area to get my feet wet, it's super rewarding. I love it. It's awesome. So.
I love it. This has been such a great way to end off the week in a good way, my friend.
Yeah.
As we round the corner, what are you excited about in this next chapter of fatherhood for you?
I guess seeing that it's my daughter's 15th today, I think I'm actually pretty excited to see come course selection.
Oh yeah, that's right.
For September, because she'll be going into grade 10, and some courses you can actually take grade 11 courses for. So I'm just slowly over the past year, just seeing her pick her electives, I thought was pretty neat. So again, she's coming into her own, and I think that's pretty like, all right, my hands are off the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. You got you got this. And if you want our guidance, or you want a little bit of nudging here and there and some encouragement, sure, but if you have the ability to say, hey, I want to do this, hey, who am I to say no? Like, it's good to see.
Oh, wow. I can't wait for that moment. I think I have another 11 years. But I mean, it's probably time sure flies, right? Just to see those different chapters.
And I don't know, when I say, do I miss, I'll put it this way. I don't think there's anything I miss with, having younger kids. The only thing I would say that I miss is just my daughter holding my hand less.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a bit of a heartbreaker. So when it does happen, though, amazing. It's like, all the good memories come flooding back. But as far as just watching them kind of growing and becoming their own person, I'm like, yeah, man, that's it. There's no looking back. It's on. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love this. Jason, thank you so much for being on the show, on 2001 Car, in the car ride, in the podcast studio. It's been such a joy to have you.
I'm proud of you too, man. This is, I told you even before the interview, like, this is amazing. I'm so thoroughly inspired by you. And yeah, I'm humbled.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
yeah.
you. We'll do a debrief after this.
Yeah,
But thank
man.
you all for listening.
Appreciate it.
Chat soon. All right, that's a wrap. That was a super fun episode. Thank you so much, Jason, for being on the Two Dads One Car podcast. My biggest takeaway from the entire conversation is just how grounded Jason is. We talked about how do you create that sense of grounding in fatherhood, whether it's like having your weekly Wednesday night pickup basketball game, or whether it's like having this early morning yoga that he does. There's an element that he does in his routine that keeps him grounded in the face of parenting 2 daughters, in face of running multiple businesses and beyond. Jason's a humble dude. He's a community leader in all fronts. And so such a joy to have him in our circles. It was so fun to be able to introduce him to you all as well too. So Jason, much love and appreciation. Thank you for being on the show. And for everybody else, thanks for listening. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Share the episode if you think you found value to it. And we'll chat again soon. Take care all. Bye.